me. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show as we broadcast from Miles Market today, the Point at M46 and M47 in Gratiot, where the Sand Fest is underway, sand carving competition. 3 different divisions, pros, semi-pros, and amateurs, and there are dozens of them. It's amazing what's outside. What also is amazing is who came a-calling this morning, because I said, why don't you? And he said, okay. And he is the one and only Gershwin Hamlishologist. I have to combine them now. The one and only Kevin Cole is with us this morning. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Has anybody ever picked up on that Gershwinologist thing?
Oh, yes. In fact, I want to say 2 concerts ago, I can't remember which orchestra I was with, but somebody said, oh, I understand you're a Gershwinologist. And it stopped me in my tracks, and I said, okay, you must have heard a broadcast or something. Oh, yeah. So I got to find a new word like Hamwin or Gershlish.
Yeah, well, I thought about those things, but I just,
Yeah, no, I like it. They can say separate, a Gershwin Hamlishologist,
Oh, my goodness gracious. It's so much fun. Kevin does things, here's the story of Kevin Cole, ladies and gentlemen. An international artist of renown, probably the finest Gershwin player and interpreter in the country, according to Gershwin's family. And yet, he has always had a fondness for home, and Bay City particularly, because that's where he's from. And now lives back in Bay City and has for a number of years, but constantly doing things in Bay City. I mean, and it's pretty amazing when you think about the career you've had, the places you've played, from Saginaw to New Zealand, and everything in between, that you still, you still like to go to sit down at the bar, upright piano at Chet's Bar, and do things.
I do.
And you're going to do it again.
I am. The 13th year of doing this, because when Matt Cherwinski, the owner and proprietor, purchased the bar, that was the Madison Pub at Madison Avenue and 21st Street, just a spitting throw from my church of St. Stanislaus, I just happened to walk in there. It's a funny story. It's like a man walks into a bar, okay?
It has a piano.
It just happened. Well, they didn't at the time.
They didn't?
Nothing. I had heard that somebody purchased it just a few months earlier. I think I was there in March, and they had opened in December of 2013, all right? My mom had been at Health Source in various places with health issues. We were trying to get her well. I'm living in Chicago. But when I'm not flying to a concert, I'm driving back to Bay City and actually living in Bay City, helping my brothers and my dad with my mom, and we'd go see her every day. Well, there was a particularly hard day in March, and it was like a 12-hour day. And I said, I'm going to go check out this bar, this Chet's Corner Bar. What is that about? Because someone said, the drink prices are much higher. And I'm like, well, I live in Chicago. Okay, how high, how high can they be? So I walk in. There's maybe like 5-6 people in there, and I just sit at the bar, and this kind of burly guy, comes up to me with beard, kind of reddish hair, and he says, hi, I haven't seen you in here before. This sounds like a TV or a movie, like a Western, going into the saloon. I haven't seen you here before. He says, I'm Matt Cherwinski, the proprietor of the bar. And at that time, I don't think he was more than like in his early 30s. And I'm thinking, that's an old-time word, proprietor. Who says that? So I said, I think I'm going to like this guy. He said, well, what can I get you? And I said, well, I looked at what he had on draft, and I said, just give me a draft beer. And so we started talking. He says, well, are you from here? And I said, yeah, I'm just 7 blocks away, the South End. St. Stan's is my church. He goes, oh, that's great. What do you do for a living? I said,
oops.
I said, well, I'm a musician. And he goes, oh, you play a certain instrument? I said, yeah, I play a little piano. And that was it. And so, we talk and talk. And so then that became kind of my cheers. Once or twice a week for the next few weeks, I was going in, and usually Matt was there because it's a new place. And I was liking people and things. So by the fall, one day I say to him, because we're kind of friends now, I said, hey, if I got a keyboard in here, could we do a Christmas sing-along sometime in December? He goes, let's do it. I said, okay. So we got a keyboard.
And he really didn't know who you were.
No, but he told me this later, though. In fact, he told me, I'm glad you said that. The following week when I came in for the second time, he says, hey, how come you didn't tell me who you were? I said, well, I thought I did. Kevin Cole, musician. He goes, no. When you left, the people that were in there said, do you know who that is? He's world famous. That's Kevin Cole, the piano player. Oh, my God. And he goes, what? He goes, you better Google him. So he said, so I went online and Googled you. If I had your credentials, you played all over the world. I've been telling everybody. I said, well, that would make me the back end of a dog, And I said, I don't like to be, that. I said, if you would have asked me more, I said, I would have. He says, well, he goes, I can't get over that. Someone with your credentials and you're not bragging about them. I said, why would I? I said, that's not me. So anyway, we did that first one, and no one exactly knew what to expect because we hadn't had a place for a sing-along since the Rathskeller in Bay City and then the train station in Midland, both Rick Hardy. It's funny about Rick and I, sometimes I'd sub for him, and I was probably still in high school. We share the same uncle, but we're not related. And so it's kind of, so we always say, yeah, we're cousins, really. But so people really missed it. And that first time I did it, Art, I must have had a death wish because for the first 3 years, I would go from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah, I know.
It was nuts. And I did that for 3 years. And then I said, okay, I'll go 2 p.m. to midnight. Then I finally settled on 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that seems to work. And it might go a little over if the crowd's, rowdy and wants stuff.
But once a year wasn't enough.
No.
So?
Well, people kept saying, well, I'm not here in December because I'm in Florida or I'm in Arizona, blah, 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 and all that. And I thought, I wonder if I could do one in July. Stores have Christmas in July sale. How about a sing-along? So last summer, I did on a Saturday. Santa came in Bermuda shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and sunglasses. Still his beard and his hat. Still asking people if they're naughty or nice and saying, you got 6 months to shape up. And we had a blast. And the place was decorated. It was like if Jimmy Buffett's Christmas exploded in the bar. There were, trees, palm trees, pineapples, flamingos, you name it. And I made the songbook so it's not all Christmas. And that when I did that a few years ago, that helped because the number one song everyone wants to sing, of course, is Sweet Caroline. And that's fine because it's fun. Everyone gets round up. But I also teach everybody once an hour because we get new people coming in. I teach them the Chet's Corner Bar song because I wrote them their own theme song.
Chet's Corner Bar song?
Complete with lyrics. And, And so I think it's the only bar that I know of in the nation that has their own theme song with lyrics. And so everyone learns it and looks forward to singing it.
Yeah, we're sitting here, folks. Right behind me is a baby grand piano. But this year's concert, I love this, Jingle Beers in July.
Yep.
At Chet's Corner Bar, Saturday, July 18th, 3 to 10 p.m.
And for location, it's 1001 Madison, but it's the corner of Madison Avenue and 21st Street, not far from St. Stan's. Street parking. Don't get discouraged if you open the door and it's packed because there's a back door and usually there's a little more room there. And it's cyclical, we get like 2 hours of people and then they'll move out and there'll be a new crowd.
But it starts at 3 o'clock, folks. If you want a table and you want to sit down, you better come early.
And the piano, finally, after the 5th or 6th year, I knew I was moving back here. That's right, because I've been back now since 2016, roughly. I couldn't bring my little upright from Chicago and also have my old upright at my folks when I decided, okay, I'm going to move in. My dad passed away unexpectedly, so I said, okay, I'll move back in with my retired brother and my mom. Okay. So I thought, what am I going to do with my old piano? This upright from 1917 that I started on when I was 4 and a half. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went off, and I said, it's going to retire to Chet's Corner Bar. So sure enough, Matt said, okay, we'll take it. So I get to play. Well, and anytime I'm in there, people go, come on. They're like, you're the piano man. You go, come on, play the tune. So I said, I'm off. This is my off day. No, but I usually do. So it's fun because I figure, Art, that eventually I will be living my retirement at Chet's Corner Bar. But I want a spittoon. I want one of those brass cups that are
good.
Not to put tobacco in, but as a tip jar.
That's funny.
You know.
All right, we are here with Kevin Cole, and we are at Miles Market inside Pinnacle Realty in the Point. Outside is the Sand Fest going on this year. Professional sculptors, semi-pro sculptors, and amateur sculptors all sculpting up that special quarry sand and making these beautiful sculptures, which last a long time. There are years where Linda has to take them down before Christmas because they're still out there. It's absolutely fascinating to watch these folks take that sand and turn it into something magnificent. So come on out. Goes right through noon tomorrow, and then the awards will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And while you're out here, you might as well come into Miles Market and have some lunch or dinner or breakfast and enjoy the fabulous pastries and donuts they have and all the wonderful things going on here. And at the other end of the building is Sips for those special coffee drinks you like so much. It's all happening right here, 6235 Gratiot in Saginaw, right at the point where M47 terminates on M46. So come on out, Sandfest going on today through tomorrow.
Campaign season is funny.
And we're back with you here at Miles Market, outside the Sandfest going on. Inside, Kevin Cole joining me this morning on the 18th of this month at Chet's Corner Bar. Jingle Beers in July. It's kind of a Christmas in July, sort of.
It is. It's a sing-along in Bay City at 1001 South Madison, corner of Madison and 21st. Starts at 3, ends at 10 maybe. Okay. I was telling Art when we were just conversing while you were listening to some wonderful commercials of things you should partake in, that the first year I did this, there were a lot of firsts. And Matt said he was getting calls once because Art had me on the show, and I was on Delta Radio and WNEM TV5, and he was getting calls from all over the state saying, is Kevin Cole really playing there? Is there a cover charge? And he just couldn't believe it. And then even at the Saginaw Choral Society's sold-out concert at the Temple that year, I made an announcement from the stage. And don't forget, in 2 weeks, you can see me at Chet's Corner Bar. And he was there with his family. He couldn't get over. He said how many people were coming up to him and they, are you that guy? You know. And so we've had fun. But I told him that my audience is varied, and I have a group I affectionately call my grandma groupies, and they're so faithful. They come to all the concerts. They tell me, and a lot of them say, "Oh, you played for my daughter's wedding." Now they're saying, "You played for my granddaughter's wedding." I said, "Okay." But I told him, I said, okay, I know you have some top shelf liquors there, but my crowd, some of them, especially my grandma groupies, they're going to want a few different ones. And so I told him. He said, I'll get them. And he did. But he didn't believe me. He's thinking, he says, yeah, I'll get them just to appease Kevin. But, they're going to have a pop or maybe a little highball or a beer. My grandma groupies were ordering top shelf martinis, Manhattans. He goes, oh my God, those women can drink. And it was sweet. Oh, he got his eyes opened about that. So he keeps that. And I'm the one that introduced the Polish vodka to that place. Can you imagine?
You introduced that in the South End? Nobody had Polish vodka?
No, they didn't, and BMO's didn't, just down the street. And I looked, I said, you got French, you have Russian, you have Swedish, you have an American. You don't have, you're 3 blocks from St. Stan's, and you don't have one Polish vodka? I'm ashamed. And your last name is Cherwinski? Okay. So he said, well, what should I get? I said, just go down to Rite Aid.
Yeah.
For $20, you can get my God, I can't even think of the name of it now.
Polish vodka.
Yeah, but it's a good one. It'll come to me. And how I learned about it is a Polish concert violinist friend of mine. She said in all the finest hotels in Europe, when they don't specify a vodka, they use Sobieski. And it's a rye vodka. Well, he made the mistake of keeping it on the bottom shelf, and everyone was ordering it. He said, damn, I can't move it now. So I remember not too long after that, I was at BMO's, and I looked and I said, you have a French fry? Rob goes, well, what should I get? I said, go to Rite Aid. You get this giant industrial strength. And he did, and it was one of the popular sellers, as it is for Matt.
Yeah.
I should get a cutback from Sobieski.
Yeah, there you go. So I got a question for you.
Sure.
I'm going to give you two options.
Okay.
I'm going to sit you in front of a symphony orchestra. Let's pick good ones. Cleveland, Philadelphia, New York.
Okay.
Or I'm going to sit you at the piano bar at Chet's. Now, I know which one is going to pay you more.
Right.
The question is, which one do you enjoy more?
You know, that's a good question, but it also, both places operate, in my mind, on the same level. And let me tell you why. Because I, to my knowledge, unless my subconscious has done this, I haven't. Whether I'm playing for 1 or 18,000 like I did at the Hollywood Bowl, audience is audience. And when I'm playing, I always know from about the third selection I play, or if it's me just playing, but with orchestra, usually I'm just playing 1 or 2 things. You can tell within the first 10 to 15 minutes if the audience is plugged into you or not. And that's part of my job, is to... People say, don't you get nervous when you have to go on stage? And oh, my word, all those notes you play, you don't have no music in front of you. And I'm like, I said, first of all, I do my homework. In fact, I probably practice more now than I have.
Do you really?
Well, because I have to hit a home run every time I'm on stage, okay? Yeah. No one's paying me millions of dollars to say, oh, well, he had a bad day. I have a bad day, you may not get hired the next time. And that's how I make my living, multiple hirings, whether it's solo or with orchestra. So to answer the question, I really, the feeling I get, well, you can imagine having a symphony orchestra to the left of you, this sold-out crowd to the right of you, and you're in the middle of that. That electricity is unbelievable because they want to be there. I would.
Well, they paid big money.
Well, that's it. And I don't think anyone pays big money and says, oh, I hope this guy really stinks, you know. And if I've done my homework, well, I mean, case in point, Albany Symphony in New York, the Palace Theater, have a wonderful stage crew, all right? I played there many, many times. And after so many years, I'm chatting with the head, stage manager and some of the crew, and they're eating pizza. You want a piece of pizza? I said, I'll take you up on it after the concert. Because this is like a half hour before, and I'm just waiting off stage. And I was, I'm living in Chicago, so we're talking about, I said, Chicago Cubs, and of course they're talking about the Yankees, and we're going back and forth. And all of a sudden, the head stage manager, who's been there for decades, says to me, he goes, you're not like any other artist we get here. And I said, how's that? He goes, most of them, they don't want us to talk to them. They're getting in their zone. In fact, there's some that say that you can't even look at them. And I looked at him and I said, look, if I haven't done my homework and know what my part of this is, I should walk on that stage. I said, that's the bonus, walking on the stage and getting to play it after all this prep and getting ready. He said, yeah, but we can talk to you like a real person. And I said, well, I hope I am a real person. I said, when I get on that stage, I'm all business, but I'm not so much business that I forget who I am, where I came from, and why people are here.
Yeah, that's and for us, Kevin, the blessing is that you are from here, and we have access to you in the amount of time that we actually do, which is a lot. We have you on a lot because it's fun.
Well, and I also like the variety of things I get to do when I come home. I mean, think about it. I was at the Osgood just recently doing a candlelight concert. I'm going to do a sing-along. October 2nd coming up on a Friday at the Osgood in Bay City. I'm going to play for the silent movie Phantom of the Opera, which I haven't done in 20 years. And then I got my Christmas, Cole in Your Stocking. I mean, the variety. Oh, and then last year I played with Fuad and the Chamber Orchestra from Saginaw Bay. I mean, I'm like Vivaldi at the all-girls school, I come up with something, but, I like that our area here, the Great Lakes Bay community, over many decades through, and then I'm musical directing Guys and Dolls in the spring at Bay City Players. I mean, it's interesting because that gets me with all kinds of people from all walks of life.
And at the same time, you do worldwide concerts.
I do.
You're going down to Wichita Falls to be with Fuad Fakari.
I am in November. I can't wait doing the Rhapsody in Blue. He asked me right after we did it here. He said, "Want to come down?" I said, "Absolutely." He was great fun to work with.
He is. He's such a neat guy.
Yeah, and so is Bonoslav with Midland. Yeah. Both of them. They're just. I think it's so funny because they are very professional when they're on the podium and very polished and all that. So, and you think, oh, okay, I could better be on my best behavior. But that's only for about 5 minutes, and then you can just be yourself.
I did. I've done Lincoln Portrait twice with the symphony.
Yeah.
Once with Brett Mitchell when he was conducting,
yep.
and then Fuad. It's interesting the difference in styles and the conductors, how they do things and how they talk to you and get you to do things. But the last one that we did with Fuad was the best because the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
Every note fell where it was supposed to fall, and he could hold them and get them in the right spot for my pace, and it was amazing. It was to stand there in front of an orchestra and do that, or sit at a piano in front of an orchestra.
Yeah.
That power, that sound is infectious.
Yeah.
Infectious.
Yep. Well, and I just did that July 3rd, but not here. I had to watch our famous fireworks in Bay City from videos on Facebook. But July 3rd, I was up in Caroga Lake, New York, at the foot of the Adirondacks. This is my 4th year going to the Caroga Arts Music Festival, or they call themselves the Caroga Arts Collective. 15-year-old operation, started on Kyle Price, the founder and executive director, on his grandma's front lawn, bringing his friends from Juilliard just to play in the summer for a few concerts. And
his friends from Juilliard.
Yeah, and Grandma was letting them sleep on the couch, on the floor, in sleeping bags.
Let's hold the thought. We'll come back to Caroga.
Okay.
I got to take a break. We're back with Kevin Cole. We are here at Miles Market. Outside is Sandfest 2026.
Beautiful new floor.
All right, we're back with you. We're chatting with Kevin Cole, the Gershwin Hamlishologist, which I dubbed
the
Gershwinologist. That was, I don't know how many years ago. Man, that had to be 20 years ago.
Oh, at least, and you haven't used your sword to dub me anything since, except Hamlishologist.
I've added Hamlish.
Yeah.
Kevin's going to be at Chet's Corner Bar Saturday, July 18th from 3 to 10 p.m., and it's called Jingle Beers in July. Kind of Christmas in July sing-along, not all Christmas music, but quite a bit.
Yep.
Always fun, though.
Oh, it certainly is, and my old upright will be tuned up again and saying, once a year he puts me through the paces, and it's just, again, the sense of community, I think, more than anything. Well, first of all, I wanted to help Matt, because it was his first year in business, and I thought, you know what? And I like doing sing-alongs, because growing up on Sundays, Saturday nights or Sunday afternoons, we'd gather around the piano, that very same piano at my house. And my dad had some piano lessons and switched to trumpet, but he would sit down and play, and he played pretty well. I was surprised. A lot of the old tunes, Elmer's Tune, and what was the other one he played that he liked a lot? Oh, the one on the black keys that everyone learns. Da, 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 yeah. And he taught me the top part of that and how to play it. So, but it was a way of celebrating that you got through a week, and that it also helped you recharge for the week ahead by singing all these old songs. And it didn't matter if you had a good voice or not. We might have friends come over. So that's the same thing with Chet's. It's just there's something about people singing together. Well, I guess that's why people join choirs, but it's a little different in a bar atmosphere because you really can let your hair down.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have hair.
But
you know,
you're not playing a Steinway.
No. But I will give a shout out though because for all of these years, we were renting a keyboard first of all,
right?
And that would go through Music Center, and I've been going to Music Center since I was 5 years old. Okay, but we needed sound reinforcement because that piano won't carry. You get 100 and some people in there, and some lighting, so they know where to focus. So I will say that Joe Christensen and Dan Arduin of Jedi Mind Trip, they have always been good about bringing equipment and helping me out for all these years. And so, again, bringing in the community to do something special. But I will say this, after I did the first one and word got out, I did get a call from a few other establishments saying, we'd like to have you. And I basically had to say, as funny as this might sound, I said, I really appreciate it, and I would love to help you out. But right now, I'm exclusive to Chet's. And that's, I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's a little
exclusive to a corner bar.
I'm exclusive to, but I kind of am because I wanted
pinnacle of the Kevin Cole career. There it is.
Well, I wanted to build something. You know how it is, Art. And as much as I love the other establishments, and they get other pianists in there, so they're okay. But I was just like, if I'm going to build something into a tradition, you got to stay put, because when you start moving around,
no.
It's like people ask me for years, "Oh, would you give me piano lessons, or my son, or?" And I would love to, but I had some of those teachers. You'd have a lesson, then you wouldn't see them for 2 months because they were concertizing. I said, I can't do that. I said, I'll listen. I'll do master classes. If they're getting ready for a competition, I'm loan my. Well, I'd say ears, but now I can only say ear. I'll loan my ear to you. But it's just there's a consistency that's important.
That you mentioned that, so I'll just touch on it. But Kevin suffered a brain aneurysm, and it was touch and go for a long time.
Yep.
But as a result, this guy who lives his life in the music world, who listens to music, has to understand and listen to it while he's playing, loses total hearing in one ear.
Yep.
How in the world did you adjust?
Well, it was a process because I know I've told you this story, was that I had one of the biggest concerts of my life, 8 years, that's good, 8 weeks to the day I had my surgery. And I was going to play, and I did, all 4 works of Gershwin for piano and orchestra. And no one had ever done that because it's like the Olympics. Okay,
yeah, it's a big show.
And so when I called the conductor, David Allen Miller of the Albany Symphony, I waited a while. I should have called him sooner, but I waited till about 3 weeks before the surgery and said, "Hey, how are things? Oh, tickets are selling well. Blah, 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 no, but we're going to have a short rehearsal period." Blah, blah, blah. So then I said, "Oh, I got one more thing to tell you."
Yeah.
On the
by
phone.
the way, I'm going into the.
I'm going to have brain surgery in about 3 weeks, and there was silence. I said, "But here's what." He said, "Do you want me to cancel?" I said, No. I need to go. I said, "If I can play one piece, you get 1, 2, whatever it is." Well, it ended up I played all 4 and 2 encores. So I looked up to the heavens and said, well, I guess this is what I should be doing.
We're going to take a break and come back. Kevin Cole, the story is phenomenal, and we're lucky to have him amongst our midst here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Sandfest going on outside here at Miles Market, the Point at M46 and M47. 6235 Gratiot is the exact address. And it goes on through tomorrow. They can put their trowels down at noon tomorrow. They're done with their sculpting, and then the awards will take place at 2 o'clock. It's free to come on out, look around, and enjoy these sand sculptures. And if you're hungry, come on into Miles Market. If you're thirsty, go over to Sips and enjoy one of your favorite coffee beverages or some great food here at Miles Market. Great donuts and pastry, too. All the Hamilton Street Bakery recipes are alive and well here at Miles Market. We will be back with Kevin after these notes.
Gotta go.
All right, we're back with you. from Miles Market and the Sandfest going on outside. Inside, Kevin Cole with me this morning, and I've shanghaied him to hang around a little longer till about 11:25. I have a question. I don't think I've ever asked you this question. It has to do with the technical side of piano playing. A piano is not a piano is not a piano to someone like yourself. Everyone is different. What is it that attracts you to one Steinway as opposed to another Steinway? I'm staying with Steinway because Kevin's a Steinway artist. But what's the difference between these very expensive, big, grand pianos?
Yeah. Well, number one for me is action. And when I say
feel of the keys.
The feel of the keys. Are they quick? Do they feel heavy? Do they feel light when you're playing on them? Because a lot of my repertoire being American music and Gershwin, I prefer not to have a lot of resistance because I'm flying like the wind on that stuff. And but on the same token, I had the opportunity, this is an example, down in Winston-Salem one year when I was playing there, in a concert, solo concert I was doing, to play on one of the Horowitz grands that had been modified to what he liked, okay? Because what he liked, and I've played on a Rubinstein Steinway grand in two different worlds. Rubinstein liked very heavy action. And again, that has to do with your touch, and that's what he preferred. Horowitz, you could blow on the key and it would go down. He liked really feather light action, according to the piano I was playing, which means you have to play really cleanly because as you're moving your hand across the tops of the key,
all going down.
Well, something can, and if it goes down like 1/16 of an inch, sometimes it will sound. Because there are all these levels when you press a key. It's not just press it, hammer hits the string, you get loud or soft. No, there's all of this. Same thing with pedaling, people don't realize. And that's another thing on a Steinway. It's usually pretty consistent. The pedal has all these degrees. You just don't push down the gas and the note rings out and then you lift up the damper, stops the string. No, there's a lot. There's like somebody once said there's like 32 levels to pedaling. So my dilemma, though, in all these years, and again, my Bay City growing up and playing on every piano you can imagine, upright. Some pianos only 30 keys worked on, but I was supposed to make them sound good, all right? So the brain is so amazing that it's like a microprocessor. So if a key is heavier or lighter than the two on either side of it, I got to remember it so that when I'm doing that run or playing that chord, that note doesn't zing out while the other two are. So, again, playing on all these old pianos and whatnot prepared me. But, Art, I'll tell you, it's like getting intimate with a stranger. And because what I have to do, I'm not going to say you have to make love to the piano, but the love you have to get out, the romance or the excitement or whatnot, hour, sometimes only a half hour on that instrument to figure out what it can and can't do. So my go-to piece usually is my arrangement of Fascinating Rhythm because that flies like the wind. It has a lot of different dynamic touches.
Set your action to that.
Correct.
I'm going to have to interrupt because I've got to take my last break here. Kevin's going to hang around, part of the next hour, right till 11:25, as we broadcast from Miles Market.
At Crystal Clear Hearing in Sag.
All right, we're heading up toward the top of the hour. We'll have news for you from ABC and the local report. And after that, we're back on Focus, and we will continue to focus with our buddy Kevin Cole. Jingle Beers in July, coming to Chet's Corner Bar Saturday, July 18th.
Broadcasting from the